Wiggins ain't played good since he was drafted, so now he's playing good.
Dang, we see Kevin Frazier in 4K. That's the clearest Zoom thing I've ever seen in my life.
I know it, right? I'm all jealous here, man.
Dude works in television.
Just trying to keep up with y'all. Just trying to be pretty.
When you're doing that, man.
Let me tell you something. When you're doing Zooms with Halle Berry, you need to look good.
Yeah, damn straight. You better.
I can only dream of that, big dog.
All I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, like I said, he goes from interviewing podunk bunk rookies like Robert Horry to interviewing Halle Berry. Like, look, that dude has just rise to the top.
Come on now.
That's a step up. How you doing, Kevin?
I am so good. I'm glad to be here. I hear y'all talking about Golden State. Let me just tell you something right now. When Clay comes back, when you add Wiseman into the mix, and here's the other thing that I think people overlook, the importance of Iguodala being there. Yeah. He is such he fits in there. It works for him in that space. So before, it just wasn't the right fit other places. He's such a perfect piece there,
Yeah. It really works. Yeah.
Yeah,
Albert, watch out.
When you talk about pieces, it's all about pieces, man. It ain't always about players. It's about pieces and how they fit in. But I like I said before, as you was coming on, I think Wiggins did some things that everybody's been expecting him to do for years. He stepped up, and I think he said, I had this little controversy about me not getting vaccinated. I better step up my game. Now I got all these eyes on me. I got to play now, and he is balling. Had 19 other night against Brooklyn. So I know everybody, Steph gets all the credit, he deserves it, but you got to have other guys like that always step up.
I also think that if you look at the way the young guys have bought in and the way they move the ball now, is Golden State again before KD got there. When KD got there, it slowed the ball movement down and there was more ISO. But now they're back to that crazy ball movement, and that helps Wiggins because that isolation basketball, Wiggins can't do a damn thing for you when you start isolating basketball. But when you move the ball around, you let him get a couple of those, those open space dunks and everything. Now he's flying, and now he has that confidence. He's a different guy. That dude from Minnesota, who you wouldn't have traded like a popsicle stick for. No, he's different now.
Yeah.
He's going to get him a contract.
Yeah.
And Kevin, it's amazing how the narrative change as the seasons and years go on, how, like you said, Andrew Wiggins, you could have got a bag of oats and a pack of bubble gum for him.
Yeah.
But now the guy is not only playing well, but he's shooting well. Like that culture of shooting the ball. I don't know who he's been working with, but those shots are falling.
Hey, Iguodala couldn't make a three-pointer outside. He walks out the arena at Oakland. He can't make a three-pointer. I mean, he went other places. He couldn't throw it in the ocean. All of a sudden, he's back, and he's like, I can shoot it, too. I can defend and shoot it. And it's just, it's a beautiful culture. And props also to Steve Kerr for, cultivating that. And let's give some love to Bob Myers, too, the GM there, for figuring this thing out. Because now they've put a monster together.
Yeah.
That monster... Meanwhile, the nightmare of New Jersey. It's like you look at the two sides. It's like,
Well, speaking of New Jersey, we haven't even gotten to this yet. But Stephen A. had a moment today.
Didn't he?
Kind of went off on. Yeah, exactly. What day is it? He kind of went off a little bit on Kyrie. Said he kind of betrayed everybody, betrayed KD, betrayed the NBA. I kind of got a little heavy with the word betrayed. I'm like, my whole thing on Kyrie is I think what you were buying when you traded for him if you're Brooklyn, right? And that's what you're going to build around. So you take the hits with the misses with guys like him.
Let me say this, and I said the same thing about Ben Simmons. Go back to college. When Ben Simmons was at LSU, he couldn't make a shot then. He couldn't lift up an LSU team over mediocre talent in the SEC then. So let's go back. Let's go back to Kyrie. What happened when he was at Duke? Oh, that's right. He really didn't play. That's right. He sat all that one season out and everybody forgot about it. This is a pattern. This is a history. This is who he is. And look, if you believe what Steven says, and I tend to believe because I've seen his phone and I see he's talking to people. And if you believe what Steven says, that they were supposed to go to New York and KD would be in the Garden, not in Brooklyn. And then Kyrie whispered in his ear and he listened. And now he is being betrayed because, look, at the end of the day, dudes go to war. Robert Horry dressed every day. He was out on the court. I know there were days you ain't feel like being out there. I know there were days were hurt. You went out and did your job, though, didn't you? You went out and did your damn job. And so that's the thing. You don't get that many rings if you don't do your job. And that's the thing that people miss. Kyrie's not doing his job. That's all I'm saying. Do your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and that's the hardest thing is he's so damn good. And he's must watch basketball when he plays. And it's like, I think there was just so much expectation with Durant and Harden and Kyrie on the same floor and the same team. And they were just going to run the East over. And it just hasn't gotten to where I think they hoped it was going to go.
Hold on, Rock. Were there times where you mentally didn't feel good? I know I've seen. Were there times? And let's be real here.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago we started the podcast.
But hold on. Let's talk about this. Were there times where there were issues going on off the court with your family that you had to deal with that weighed heavy on your head? But did you do your job?
Man, my whole career was like that, man.
But you did your job, didn't you?
Yeah. I know a lot of people didn't even know my daughter was on death's door, and we was playing in the finals in New York, and this is before cell phones. And I'm after the game, I'm running to the hotel. Hotel bill is out the yin yang because I'm calling home and having her to call me. And, it's about, trying to establish yourself. And for me, I was on the second year. And I think after Kyrie won his first ring, he established himself. He says, okay, I can become this activist. I can become this guy who can do all these other things. And basketball is not who I am. You got to think about it. It's a lot of guys that use basketball as a platform. I remember Matt Geiger. Y'all probably know who Matt Geiger is.
Matt Geiger, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Matt Geiger was like that. The guy who played at Georgia used Miami to get a contract just so he can go to be a doctor. I can't think of his name. Played at Georgia, was a center there. He did the same thing. A lot of guys are just not into basketball and love it like a lot of other guys. They use it as a platform for their next chapter in life. And I think Kyrie was in the middle of that next chapter in his life, and he was like, okay, I'm looking for an out. Oh, here's an out right here. So, but the out hasn't happened like he wanted, where he's not getting that whole 15 mil. I mean, he's only getting 15 instead of 30. So,
poor him.
Poor him. That's a lot of. Listen, I'm listening to you say that, and I also think of Robert Smith, the running back from Ohio State, who wanted to be a doctor,
right.
And all the things that went on, and how guys were like, well, he isn't really focused on basketball. But Kyrie gave us the perception. Be honest and be true to who you are. Yeah. He gave us the perception that he wanted to play basketball. Yeah. And when you go to a place and you sign a max contract, don't sign a little baby contract then. I'm not really sure where my head's at. So sign a baby contract. Don't take all the money and then say, I'm out.
And get in someone's ear and affect their money, in their future. It's just tough.
Think about where KD could be right now. He could be running offense in Golden State. They could be blowing out everybody in the West, just rolling, making more crypto investments and doing all his stuff.
Buying arenas.
He could be doing this.
I think that what makes us the maddest is about that, because he's so fucking good.
Yes.
And what he could do on the court was amazing. And we wouldn't be talking about if he wasn't a talented dude, but this dude is super talented. And it's like, we want to see his art. We want to see you perform on the court, and you're not giving us that. And so that was kind of pisses me off about that. Dude, you got all this game and so many things. It's only so many people that go on the court that make you go, ooh, whoa, did you see that? And he's not giving us that.
No.
Here's what I want to know. Will he be the biggest waste of talent when it's all said and done in the history of the NBA?
He's definitely one of them.
He's right up there.
Yeah, he's got to be. He's got to be near the top of that list.
He won't be if he comes back next year.
We don't know.
What's it going to take for him to come back? That's the other thing too.
I know. I hope he figures it out, man, because you hate to see. It's like it's not on the same level. But when you lose great players and you like, damn it, I want to see him play more like Barry Sanders. Like, no, don't retweet Megatron. No, where you going? You still got talent. Where you going? Yeah. And all these guys leave because they were so dynamic on the field of the court, and we're not getting that, man. We missed that.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Now, Kev, I do want to ask, we talked about, you mentioned the crypto, and obviously you have the name change down there in state. Look, I told the guys, and I know many people around the world who are Laker fans or not, the Staples Center is a classic place for 20 plus years. I told Rob, I told these guys, Mama called him Clay, I'm going to call him Clay. Mama called him Staples, I'm going to call him Staples. What are your thoughts on this crypto.com?
I mean, listen, it is the way of the world right now. I mean, it's going to be crazy because people are going to still say Staples. We're in LA and in the iconic crypto.com center. What? Who's coming up with it? So, I mean, I will tell you, it'll be weird at first. It's a tough name change. It's just like when you say, Washington Football Club now. It's a name change that had to happen, but you say it and you'll get used to it. And just like everybody will I'm used to New Orleans Jazz, okay? And you want to go all the way back? I still want to I want to say the New Orleans Jazz. And so everything changes, man. Right. And by the way, money talks, and it makes the world go round.
Well, for sure.
And so many people are like, what is he talking about? New Orleans Jazz? Don't you know?
Right. There are people right now who are like,
Googling.
If there is one thing you do not equate with jazz, it's Utah. But hey, anything is possible. So,
is possible. Possibly the whitest state in the country. Right. The Jazz.
You're like, okay, all right.
All right, sure, why not? Why not?
Only you could say that.
It's my role on the show. Take the heat for the white people. It's my role on the show. Is this a nice reprieve for you, Kev, to talk sports a little bit? Because I know you love what you do. You do a hell of a good job on Entertainment Tonight, but it's just such a different world.
It's so funny. In my ear right now, I hear the show playing back, and I hear Britney. We're talking about Britney Spears. And look, that's my job. That's what I do. Right. I love basketball. I love it. I mean, it's what all my life. My father was a basketball coach. I grew up in this world. So it means, this is what I think about and talk about, all the time. When I'm not doing this, I'm talking about basketball because I love the game.
Yeah. So do you still try to play the game?
I still play. So I built a court in my backyard because I was like, look, I want my kids, they need to work out and everything. But really, that was for daddy.
Hold on. Listen to the wealth. The wealth.
No. You don't know. Hey, I can pour concrete. But and I go back there and we play old man basketball, and I have my dudes over and we're out there playing, we have food and some Gatorade too, because we know somebody's gonna get hurt. Right. But man, I just can't stop. And it's getting to that point where my 14-year-old now is trying to, big up on me. And I'm like, listen, kid.
That's why I was heading because I have a 16-year-old who goes to Harvard West. Like,
yes, I know about your 16. They got a team.
A year ago, I had to he was blowing by me a little too fast. I like, okay, let me go to the big boy game. So I'm not going to lose. So the body time. Hey, you can't teach size, son. You can't teach size. So
nothing they
get him on that perimeter. He's going right past me. I said, okay, don't miss, because once you miss, I'm getting ready to go to what works best.
That is exactly what I do. You get a mouthful of me and my shoulder, and you're gonna get a lot of it, and it's gonna come, and it's gonna keep coming. And I like 2 weeks ago, I really just ran him. He went by me like 3 times, and so I was pissed. And so I backed him down and knocked him down and ran through him. And he jumped up. And my wife was sitting out there, and his little trainer was sitting out there, and he jumped up like, man, you can't. And I was like, oh, this is big boy basketball now. You reacted like a man. Now I'm going to treat you like a man. And now I'm going to treat you like a man. And I had to talk to him. I had to beat him up a little bit. Had to beat him up. There were a few tears, but I know it's coming. I'm going to get it back.
Here's the most important thing. Did your wife get mad at you? Say, you need to let him win? Because my wife be like, you need to let him win. Like, no, I don't. No, I do not need to let him win.
Furious. When I was 12 years old, my father came home. We were playing in the driveway, and I blocked his shot. And he looked at me, and he's like, okay. And I responded like, you ain't getting that shot off no more, old man. The next time I jumped to block his shot, he caught me clean with an elbow and gave me my first ever black eye. And I was like, damn. And he's like, hey, you jump up on me, you gonna pay the price. And so that's how it is, because once it's over, it's over. And then I have to sit for the rest of my life and watch him just, talk, and I can talk about the good old days.
Well, there's another, speaking of older gentlemen, old former players, Scottie Pippen.
Yes.
Been all over the media, ever since the MJ doc came out, last summer. And, he's been in his feelings a bit, obviously, as a book. Yeah. What are your... Look, we know Scottie's one of the 50 great, well, now even one of the 75 greatest players of all time. And we understand that Michael is supreme. Michael is Mike. We know MJ.
He's Mike. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Scottie? Can you leave it alone? Can you just be great in your own right?
Listen.
Before you answer it, did you get your copy?
I damn sure did. Okay. I downloaded the audio book. Come on now. And here's the thing I want to say. It's like, it has to be hard for Scottie to live in Michael's shadow like he lived. He was in Michael's shadow. And so I get that. Even though Scottie made the bad deal with the contract, that was on him.
Mm-hmm.
But covering those years in the Bulls and watching the work and what Scottie did, I understand his discontent. I also understand that we live in this fantasy world where we believe that everybody that's playing on a team loves each other. Meanwhile, you go to work every day and you may not like your coworker. Y'all see each other, you play, you do your job, and then you walk out the arena. Everybody thought that Scottie and Michael were attached to the hip, and they were not. And they didn't love each other. They did their job. Michael loved that there was a dude there that could do his job. And just like, look, you're going to tell me there are days, and this is 100% true, Rob, where you didn't look at Kobe and you'd be like, hey, if you don't run this offense and pass this daggone ball, I'm going to have to come over and right? Right?
Hey, we used to do this to him. We're like, yo, and everybody was like, he never knew. I don't think he ever knew that this was like, don't throw him the ball. And we were that's how we were reining back in. Like, no, dude, you just can't go off on your own and do that. I says, no, we got to break it back down. Let's run this offense.
And I remember distinctly watching D Fish look at him, pump the ball, and then go the other way. D Fish would go just like this. And go the other way.
And this was Kobe.
Yes.
Kobe would do that every time. It was so funny. Everybody it was like he had that hand clap, but it was so funny. He started licking his lips and get pissed. No, this is we got to calm you down.
And so so for that, I think people don't understand the inner dynamics of a team. And so I think they want to see, and they want to be like, Scottie was so happy and he loved Michael so much, and he carried him off the court that time when he was feeling sick in Utah and held him up because they're blood brothers. Oh, they was dudes who wanted to win, right, and they had a winning mentality. So look, Scottie, go ahead, sell your book. Scottie, sell some damn books. He sure did sell some books, didn't he?
It's great promotion
everywhere. Greatest promotion. Yeah. And you know what? Mike was like, go ahead and sell your books, bro. I'm good.
Yeah, it's so many people hating on Scottie, but it's the thing is, a book is about telling your side of a story, and is it his side of the story? Because I remember my last year in the league, they came to me and was like, hey, you need to write a book, you doing. I said, no, dude, because if I write a book, I'm gonna tell the damn story, right? And I'm either gonna come up missing or I'm leaving the country, because after I tell the story, it's gonna be a lot of people pissed at
this
me.
podcast would have been a hell of a lot better. I'm just all saying.
And by the way, that's the thing that people don't understand. How many nights did you stand in that locker room and look over and be like, I just saved your ass and your ass, your ass?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, all right, y'all go ahead and talk. Y'all do it. Y'all handle it. Okay, but I might have.
Hey, I didn't say that. I was like, see, motherfuckers, this is what I could do if you give me the damn ball. I said that more often than if you ran some fucking plays for me, man. Shit, I could get my game off too.
So it's interesting. It's interesting that if you know and love basketball and you watch the contributions that everyone makes, you see that the things that dudes are doing that people aren't jumping up and down about. That's one of the things I watched my entire time covering the Lakers, because I was lucky enough to cover them for that entire run, was what Robert was doing, is those things that people don't get, that they don't show up in the Hall of Fame balloting. It doesn't say, oh, but by the way, he got the 6 rebounds that y'all needed down the stretch. Right. Oh, by the way, he was the one who stretched the floor so you could swing the ball so that dude could get that shot. Oh, by the way, he handled the ball late so that dude could run down the court and catch a breather. There's so many different things, and defending people and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just fascinating. I think that's where Scottie's head is at. He's like, man, do you know how many nights I stopped? I stopped cats. I stopped them so they wouldn't go off on, so you could run around and jog and be okay.
So you can have the energy to score 40 and 50 while I'm over here doing all
that's no disrespect to Michael. That's just saying what Scottie did.
Yeah. And you know what? Even, look, Scottie is selling his books, and Mike is probably sitting at home like, go ahead, Scottie. Because even right now, I'm still the best thing that ever happened to you because you're selling your books.
Well, them checks keep coming from them tennis shoes.
Woo. Yeah.
That has its own name. It ain't really checks anymore. It's just
right.
It's got gold bars.
Direct deposit just hits. Yeah.
But it's so funny that you think about it. You go back to like all the dynamic duos that won championships. when Scotty left, he never won another championship. When Shaq left Kobe, they both won championships. So they like, okay, can we do it without each other? Yes, but in Scotty's case, he couldn't because he ran into a dynamic duo that stopped him.
Yep.
In Shaq and Kobe. So I think if Scotty would have went off and won a championship someone else, we wouldn't be giving him as much flack as what they're doing about this book, because now everybody says, dude, you needed Jordan to win your championship. Jordan needed you to win his championship. So if you'd have had that opportunity to win another one, he could go back and this book would probably sell a lot more than what it's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also Michael is the sacred kind of like he's the
Black
sacred
Jesus?
deity, right? He is Black Jesus, and nobody's really taking hardcore shots at Black Jesus. Nobody's been like, I'm just gonna fire off on Michael. Like if it wasn't for me, Mike wouldn't have shit. No, wait a minute. It's Mike,
right?
It's Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know Jason Caffey probably saying that somewhere right now. That's my boy. I talked to Jason the other day.
Oh man.
So take us back to those early Lakers days, man. How do you guys remember meeting? Like Kevin, do you remember running into Rob? Like where'd you guys get acquainted outside of talking to him?
On the road, interviewing him at practices, everything. And the thing that I loved is that here's what happened. You have the dynamic duo, right?
Mhm.
And there's all that's going on with that. And Rob was the regular dude that you could go to when you needed look, I just need to talk to the game about the game, and I don't need to talk about all this crazy stuff that will give it to you straight with no chaser, and that was the important thing. And so I think that was part of it. And also, like I said, I love basketball. I grew up with a basketball coach. So I understood that I gravitated to also interviewing Rob when I was out there because he was doing so many things that were underappreciated. I think that like if there's two people that I would look at and say in that Lakers run that didn't get enough credit would be Rob and Lamar. Those two don't get enough credit for all they did during that run. It was amazing what the other two did, but I think these guys also deserve love. And that's why you can go off and you go other places and you fit in and you win more rings.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kevin, that's why I told Rob, he talked about, going back to Staples and getting a tribute video. And I'm like, dude, you hit one of the Staples. You hit
It's
some
crypto.
of the biggest shots.
It's always going to be Staples.
Oh no! I'm in Atlanta. I'm halfway across the country, and all the way across the country. I'm gonna call it Staples. I'm gonna call it Staples
forever.
It's gonna be Staples to me.
Yeah.
So him hitting those iconic shots, I said, with that Lakers across your chest, dude, you're beloved there. Obviously, you have Kobe and Shaq, who are the big dogs there, but you, D. Fish, Brian Shaw, guys like that, guys who did a lot of the dirty work and really were the stitching that held that thing together. LA fans are always gonna love you for that.
That crew was different and special. And that is like, I think in many ways, LA has been chasing that team where the pieces fit together for a long time, like trying to figure out how to get that balance again. And going back to that shot against Sacramento, to understand the importance of that shot, go back to Peja Stojakovic, alligator arm, that jumper he had up in Sacramento. Okay. Yeah. So then now go back to this shot and think about when that ball was tapped out. I remember just looking up like, shit. And then you caught it and I was like, And then you let it go. The thing is, you took the time to think it through. You caught it, you're like, I got this. Okay, here we go. I was like, and then just the mayhem. I don't think people can understand the mayhem that ensued because it was like the ball got knocked out. It was over. It was over. When the ball got hit out, I was like, damn it. And that shot, the place was like stunned for a second. And if you watch the video back of it, you see it kind of like, huh? Oh! And so, I mean, it was just it's one of the greatest moments in Lakers history because of when you put it all into context of everything that was going on and how much those two teams also didn't like each other. Ooh.
And that's what I talk to people. This is they want to talk about Fish shot my shot. I said, first of all, I was on Spurs. Fish shot didn't count. But I said it's a difference. It's a difference in making a shot on the road and then making a shot in your building. You know, you love making shots on the road, but when you're able to knock down a shot in your building and let the crowd go crazy and chant your name, and especially in the playoffs, it's huge, man. So that, you know, that's one of my top shots of all time, man. So
man,
I had to go back and that's my baby.
That shot, it just, I'm telling you, people go back and look at it and look at kind of how everyone is so stunned for a second. Like everybody's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh, and they're stunned. Like, look at the Sacramento reactions. They're stunned. Because that was a hump that they tried to get over for so long.
I had the photo. I think the best part of my photo is Kobe like this. And like, yeah, I know that's going in, right? It's a great shot from that. And then when they show the video and you see it's our ball boy named Dante when he streaks across the floor, man. And the crowd erupts at the same time. It still gives me goosebumps when I watch that shot from the top of the arena, top of Staples, top of Crypto. Top of crypto, whatever it's called. Cam, I gotta ask you, you know, I know when I first got in the league and I came to LA, I was kind of a fanboy, I'm gonna say. I remember it was when I got to LA and I played the Lakers for the first time, a little country boy from Alabama, and I saw the stars. I was just, you know, like in awe. So you have the pleasure of interviewing so many people. Has there been, who is the one person where you really had to keep your composure, where you just didn't want to say, give me a hug, man, I love you?
There's been a bunch of those, you know, and it's crazy, like you said, in Staples. And I will tell you this: the first time I interviewed Halle Berry was on a red carpet, and she was coming down on the red carpet, and she was wearing just a blazer, and the blazer was cut out, and her belly button was kind of open and everything. And I asked her a question, which I forgot, and I just started staring at her belly button, and I was looking. I was like, "Oh my God, that's Halle Berry's. That's just so perfect. So perfect." And I was just looking, you know, and I'm just standing. I'm looking, and she's looking back at me because she's answered the question. She's like, "You know, I finished answering the question." And I just had to stop and fess up. And I was like, "I'm sorry. I was looking at your belly button." I lost it.
Out of all the body parts, you looking at the belly button.
I'm looking at her belly button. But Halle was like, "It's all good. It's good. I get it. I understand." And so there are lots of moments with that with people, you know, because these are the people that you go home and watch. Like I watch basketball and I get to talk to basketball players, but these are the people you watch in the pop culture mix. And so when you first see them, a lot of times it's like, I'm sure like it was for you when you looked over a couple of times and you saw some of the people who were sitting courtside and they're looking at you like, "What's up? Hey." Yeah. And you're like, "Yeah, hey.
What's up, Jack
like with
Nicholson?"
Denzel, like, is Denzel talking to me? Like, we boys? Like, "Oh shit, what's up, Denzel? What's up, man?" You know? And then you see him afterward. He comes up to you and starts talking about the game. You like,
"Right,
dude, do you realize who you are? I know you do. Right. You're talking to me, man." You know, it's moments like that. It makes you feel good. It's funny that you mentioned Halle Berry, and it was when she came to a game one time. That's all everybody on the bench. "Man, Halle over there. You see Halle?" And the ball goes out of bounds, and everybody runs to take it out. I'm like, "Dude, I take the ball out. Move out of the way, man.
Get your ass out of here."
And you look down at Halle, you just smile. She looks at you, and you smile. I'm like, you know, you want some of this, don't you, Halle?
Oh yeah, of course she did. Of course, she's everybody's kryptonite, by the way, because we did a show with Shaq for years, and that was the one time he said he could never get a sentence out.
Yeah.
Standing on the elevator with Halle Berry, and he's like, "I got an opportunity. What do I say?" And I think, "Hey." That's about the most he could get out. And then that was it. She walked off. He was like,
She is so beautiful. And when you have to stand right there toe to toe and talk to her with common sense, it takes a second. Like, I'm now just getting there. I've been here 15 years, 17 years. Right. I'm just getting used to it now, where I'm like, "Oh, hey, Halle, how are you doing?"
Right.
You know, but for a long time, I'd be like, "Yeah, Halle Berry standing here." And that's kind of crazy. It's the same kind of thing you get. Like we used to do the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Oh, Lord.
And we would fly on the
belly
plane.
buttons. Oh, a lot of belly buttons.
Well, we would fly on the plane with the Angels, and then we'd land in, say, London or Paris, and then you go do the show, and you'd be backstage, and they're all walking around in lingerie. They're changing. They're doing stuff. And you're in the back of your mind, you're like, "Oh, my God. about to lose my mind.
See, Kevin has been very professional here.
Yeah,
They actually
very.
walk around butt ass naked. Because they don't. But hey, I did a couple of modeling shows where everybody just stripped down butt ass.
It
They don't
trips you
care.
out.
They be like,
They don't
walking
care.
around, everything hanging out. I'm like, hey man, come on now. I'm like,
You don't
You
care.
got to be professional. You have to look straight ahead and act like you don't see them, but they don't even care. They just
Don't care.
just-
They're walking by you, and you're like, wait a minute. They're some of the most beautiful women. in the world.
Composure.
Right. I'm like,
Composure.
I'm looking dead in your eyes.
Like, yeah,
I will
just
not
talking to- hey, you do that. So you
break.
start doing this. Yeah, I do a lot of interviews with a lot of people, and I was wondering.
Right. Exactly. Just
You all right, Stevie? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Man. I'm good. I'm up here.
like that.
Hey, Kevin,
Okay.
have you not? And I do want to know this. Have you ever seen Will Smith and Robert Horry in the same room? Because they're the same person.
Hold on, Robert, you just had your premiere the other night. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's talking about Venus and Serena. It was fun, man.
Yeah.
It is funny that the two do look alike,
They do.
Very much.
Yeah, they do.
Have you gotten that? Has
Yeah.
anybody ever called you Will?
I used to get it a lot, man. Back in the day, they used to always do those little doppelganger things on it, and it will always
Yeah.
put he and I next to each other. And I've told this story before, but I'm gonna make it quick. My middle son, we were driving around in LA. He used to say, "There you go, Daddy. There you go, Dad." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I finally looked. It was Will Smith on the billboard. He said, "No, that's you right there on the billboard." I'm like, "That's not me, son." But he was only like 3 years old then, So
And he was
thought
still
that-
looking.
He thought that Will Smith was me. Yeah. So I used to get that a lot.
That's
See,
fun.
that's crazy because, there's another person who comes to Laker games. I remember there was a game where it was like Will, Tom Cruise. There was a bunch. It was the finals, and they were all there on the side of the court. And we were doing interviews before the game. And it was a crazy group of people that were just like these big, crazy stars. And I just always wondered, what is it like for y'all sitting on that bench looking out over at them? And these are the biggest movie stars in the world. And they're like fangirls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And wishing they could do some of those moves. I'm like, so it's just weird though. It's a lot. It's like an entertainment family when it comes to LA basketball, and the entertainers love the basketball. Only one person loves the Clippers. That's Billy Crystal.
The one.
But everybody else loves the Lakers.
The one Clipper fan in the whole city. Well, Kadeem Hardison. We give Kadeem Hardison.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah. I
There's
forgot
a different
about
world
Kadeem,
is back in reruns. Yeah.
Right.
All right, man. We'll let you run, Kev. We know you got a show to get ready for.
Yes.
And we appreciate your time, man. You're always the best, and continued success.
Appreciate
Listen,
it, Kevin.
Yeah.
I appreciate talking to y'all. I love talking basketball. Bob, I've always appreciated you throughout these years.
Thank
Appreciate how you always stop to talk, man. But, you need your due. Got to give you your love and your due.
You got to get him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You got to get him in the Hall of Fame, man. Rudy Cheat started that push.
Hold on. How does a dude with that many rings not be in the Hall of Fame? Let's
you.
just stop for a second.
Thank you.
How many dudes are in the Hall of Fame that didn't win a ring?
There's
How
one
does
on
the dude-
TNT every Thursday night. Yeah. Every Thursday night. Terrible.
I guarantee.
Yeah. All right,
Hey,
Kevin.
but before you go, Kev, you get the old man games up, man. Why I don't get the invite? That's all I'm saying.
Hell no, I'm not bringing you. Hell no. I learned that
We can be on
lesson.
teams, man.
Hold
We
on.
can be on teams.
I'm gonna tell y'all one quick story before I gotta
Go,
go.
man.
They're looking at me, but I'm gonna tell you a
Go,
quick
man,
story. When I was at ESPN, Doug Gottlieb would play basketball with us at the Bristol Y. And, he'd give dudes business because he was good at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
He was a good player, all-time assist leader, and he could, against us, he could shoot it.
Right.
So he was talking junk one day while I'm sitting with Greg Anthony, and these other dudes are hyping him up. And so they're talking junk. They're like, Greg, don't come to the Y because Doug will get you. And I'm like, do y'all understand that Greg Anthony is one of the greatest defensive players ever? I mean, he played.
Yeah.
So we go to Bristol Y. Doug comes down, hits a three. And Cass is like, oh, I told you he's going to bust his ass. And I was like, okay. And Greg went on to put on a show. It's like he ran him through a videotape of how to defend, how to score. And after that, I looked at everybody and said, don't go on the court. with no old NBA players because they will bust your ass. You'll never get an invite to my house to come play. You destroy cats. You make cats feel so bad they go home. They will be brokenhearted. Hell no. No. You can come officiate, but you're never playing. And I love you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Hey, man, it's an honor, man. It's an honor.
Hey, thank you all for having me on. It's an honor. And
Anytime, Kevin.
I'll see you in the Hall of Fame. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Brother.
All right.
Yeah,
all
man.
right.
I'll talk to
All
y'all
right,
later.
see you, man.
Yeah.